Hi, everyone. I'm Teresa Lysam coming to you with my amazing guest co host, Amy Collette, and we're evolving women. I'm evolving, you're evolving, we're all evolving. So, as we take this journey together, we're here to share uplifting messages, offer new perspectives, plant some new seeds, offer some tools, some resources, some wellness ideas, maybe some mindset shifts. So, we're all evolving faster. And we're also here to give you permission to be your best self. So, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Gratitude is the catalyst for happiness. What does that mean? Well, we're lucky to have Amy Collette here. She is going to help us dig into that quote and talk how gratitude has set her on a path in her life. So, welcome, Amy. We're so glad you're here.
Thanks so much, Teresa. It's always so fun to talk with you. And gratitude is pretty much my favorite topic.
So how did this happen for you? This quote I know is meaningful for you. Gratitude is the catalyst for happiness. So can you speak more on that?
Sure. I could talk all day about it, Teresa. But to give you a shorter story, I was in a dark place a few years ago. I was just kind of living in that state of fight or flight, that anxiety. And I don't know how many people can relate to that, but I think we've
Mhm.
all been there at some
Oh,
point.
yeah.
And I was just kind of stuck there day and night, with the heart pounding out of my chest, not
Mm.
sleeping well, that kind of stuff. And finally, I was able to go into meditation for a few moments, get calm enough to do that. And this memory floated into my head that I had read about. It's a practice in the Jewish tradition called hakarat,
Hmm.
and it means to give thanks for your blessings a few times a day so that it becomes like a living prayer.
Mm.
And at the time, I thought, wow, that's a great idea if I had anything to be grateful for.
Ooh.
I mean, that's where I was. I didn't even
Ooh.
think, yeah, it was pretty bad. But I thought, well, I'm going to try it. And I kind of had to force myself. I had to, kind of fake it till I made it. Right.
Yeah.
So I decided to do it at least twice a day, in the morning when I woke up, in the evening when I went to bed, to just focus on the feeling of gratitude. So it wasn't a
Mm.
journal. I wasn't writing 5 things down or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I wanted to focus on how it felt so that I could feel different, even if it was just for a few minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I like to put my hands over my heart and just, that right there is kind of calming. When you do it, you sort of
Mm-hmm.
feel your shoulders relax,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and just let that feeling of gratitude come. And we all know what that feels like. If you can get in touch with that, then the brain gets involved a little bit and you start thinking about things that you're grateful for. And what really shocked me was that, oh my goodness, I had so many things to be grateful for.
Mm.
And I start listing them off in my head and I'm like, wow, okay, I've been so deep into this anxiety and depression that that's all I could see. And I was
Mm.
missing out on the rest of my life, you know. That I came to that in just a couple of days of doing this.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, it was huge. So after about 5 days of doing this, things really started to flow again for me. My business was having trouble. It was a different business at that time, and it started flowing again. I started getting phone calls. I started connecting with friends again. Things just really opened up. And while my goal was just to feel a tiny bit better,
Mm-hmm.
what I found was that, wow, I'm laughing again.
Uh,
I'm starting to have fun again. I started to have this sense of happiness outside of that doom and gloom of anxiety. So that's why I really say that gratitude was the catalyst for happiness because it really did bring happiness when I didn't even expect it or I didn't think that was even possible at that
wow.
time.
So you
So
went into it with some skepticism, sounds
I
like.
did. I did. I mean, I was approaching everything with skepticism at that
Mm.
point. I was, and I'm not like that. I'm generally not like that. I'm generally a happy, positive person, but I had lost that.
Mm.
And gratitude
Wow.
helped me find that again.
Wow. And that is a great testament to the power of gratitude. And I love that you started with an inspiration. You acted on that inspiration, that thought that floated into your head,
Yeah.
and you decided to embrace it and move forward with it and take some action. So that's number one. That's a big thing. How many of us dismiss our inspiration? I mean, even now, I'm still trying to really practice to, when something comes in, like do something with it. It came in for a reason. So I love that. And I love that you focus on the feeling, not just the thought, the intellectual thought around gratitude, but the actual feeling. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see a lot of these things. I know how I am. And that's why I didn't want to make a list or whatever, because as soon as I have a pen in my hand, a paper in front of me, or a keyboard and a screen, I'm a writer. So I go
Mm-hmm.
right here into my head
Mm-hmm.
instead of staying in the feeling, staying
Yeah.
in my heart, right? So I knew that was going to happen. So I wanted to take that out of the equation and just focus on the feeling. That's what I needed at that time. And
Mm.
I still feel like that's really powerful place to start. It's a
Right.
small action.
Right.
Like, it seems like I'm not taking some big life-changing action, but I actually was, because when you're wanting to start a habit or a practice, it's actually a pretty huge commitment. But day to day, it only takes a tiny amount of energy to actually do, right?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
starting that that stops most of us.
Yeah. Yeah. That's half the battle,
Just
as they
getting,
say.
yeah, yeah, I think
Hmm.
it's way more than half the battle. It's
Mm.
just taking that tiny action to say, okay, I'm going to do this today. And at the time,
Mm.
it didn't feel like it took a lot of energy. I didn't have
Mhm.
much energy, you know? So to just take that tiny step was easy enough for me to do. And then it grew into a practice.
Well, I think sometimes people think to change whatever, a habit or a way of thinking, it takes a huge epiphany, this ginormous change, like boom, you're going to shift in an instant. And from what I hear from others, everybody seems to start with a baby step. It was just a baby, like you said, the first easiest action, the tiniest, and then you take the next one, then you take the next one. So it doesn't have to be gargantua and overwhelming. You just focus on the one that comes to mind, and then you focus on the next one. So I always think of these steps. You take one step at a time, then you wait, and then something else reveals itself, then you take another one. And I'm talking to myself here, so I'm not, but I mean, I know it intellectually, but to allow it to unfold like that sometimes is a little tricky, because you're trusting the process, you're trusting those feelings, you're trusting your inspiration to take those baby steps.
Yeah, it's really cool that you brought this up, Teresa, because I've been reading Atomic Habits
Mm-hmm.
by
Yep.
James Clear,
Yep.
and he talks about just that. Like, I would never say you need to commit to a gratitude practice for a year, much
Mm-hmm.
less the rest of your life.
Right.
That sounds
Right.
ridiculous and way too daunting to commit to,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And what he says is start super small. Like, if you're going to commit to going to the gym, just put your gym shoes on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just commit to that.
Yep.
He talks about really tiny baby steps. And then, eventually, okay, get in the car, drive to the gym, work out for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's it. That's all you're committing to today.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't seem like it's this giant, impossible task that you have to overcome. It's just,
Right.
okay, I got my gym shoes on. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's how that practice of happiness, or just sort of building a different perspective, came for me. I just started with this tiny, I mean, this takes like 2 minutes to do this
Yeah.
gratitude
Yeah.
practice. And then you fall asleep and you're calm and you're good. And then you wake up and you do that again in the morning. That's a pretty awesome way to start your day.
It certainly is.
That's 4 minutes a day.
Anybody could do 4 minutes.
It's not a big commitment. And then, like James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits, you can start stacking habits. Like you find a habit you get that you're doing and you're good.
Mhm.
It's not a big deal anymore to do that commitment. Stick something else on there. Like maybe you do make a list of 5 things you're grateful for,
Mhm.
or maybe you eat one thing healthy for
Right.
breakfast,
Right. Right.
or put the gym shoes on or whatever it is, and you can tie those things that feel good together, even though if it at first, you might be fighting it.
And like you said, take that one little step and just get good at it. Get it like embedded in your day or whatever. And then once you feel comfortable with it, then yeah, tack on another one. Get good with that one and then tack on another one. So again, it doesn't have to be 20 different things, just one thing at a time, get really comfortable. And I just want to mention that celebrate that. We don't celebrate ourselves enough. Like, yay, I got my tennis shoes out today or whatever. Yay, I went to the gym for 5 minutes. Like, celebrate that. I know I myself don't celebrate my accomplishments nearly as often as I need to be doing or I should be doing.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and you probably coach that too with your people that you work with. And I do too, because what we're really, really good at is beating ourselves up.
Yes, yes.
Because you said, well, I only worked out for 5 minutes. No
Hmm.
big deal. And like, that's not going to help me lose the weight or get in shape or whatever your goal is, but it's a start. It's the start of something great.
And don't compare to another person what you're doing. I tend to do this. I can compare where I'm at to somebody else who's already been on their journey for a long time and has already created these habits and probably started small and they escalated to something bigger, and then there's me like, oh, look at that person. So I think it's important to mention, don't compare ourselves to anybody. It's easy to do because that's society kind of
Yeah.
trains
Oh,
us
yeah,
that way.
exactly. But
Mhm.
look at all these other people who are doing these great things or they're making it look real good on social media.
Yes, very easy. Yes. Yes,
You
you're
know,
right. You're right.
and
That's
the reality may be something different. But yeah,
exactly.
it's if we can stay in the moment and say, yeah, good for me. I put my tennis shoes on and I worked out for 5 minutes. That's better than I did yesterday.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
it's got me started. So yeah, we're so good at beating ourselves up and saying what we didn't do,
Hmm.
that just celebrating those little accomplishments, maybe that's a habit too, right? That you get into.
Yeah, that's a good point. Get into a habit of celebrating those small moments, those small wins. I know my mentor, I believe he refers to it as the just the base hits. Like, you don't have to make a home run every time, hit a home run. Just get to the base, one base, and celebrate that. And get to the next base, celebrate that. So that advances the game just as much as somebody who hits a home run. So,
Right.
another analogy, if anybody's into sports.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
So how do you celebrate, Teresa?
Um, like I said, I struggle with celebrating. Like, I try to maybe reward myself. Well, if I get this thing done, if I focus, my time and energy on this particular project for the next half hour or whatever hour, then I'm going to reward myself with a walk, which I walk every day anyway, or I'm going to reward myself with some downtime. So like that's kind of like how I reward myself, with some like, okay, now I can relax and, listen to something or whatever. Um, I know, but when I was a teacher for, a bulk of my life, and I took a master's course and I got my master's. I mean, and that's not the point here, but the point is, like, I didn't really celebrate that. Like, when I was done, Like, okay, like no, nobody in my family really made a big deal out of it, and which was fine, but I didn't even myself, I dismissed it. But yet it was like a 2 year commitment that I had gone through, and well, and I still regret that to this day that I didn't celebrate that. Like, not that many people have that, that
Yeah,
to that opportunity to do something like that. And so, so celebrate yourselves every time you can, even for the small wins. And when the big wins happen, yeah, take it upon yourself to plan your own celebration.
it's true. It's true. It's funny how we give over that power or that need to other people. We want somebody else to throw us a birthday
Yeah,
party or
yeah.
whatever it is, but it's just like launching a book or whatever. It's a big deal, right?
It
And
is a
people
big
want to
deal.
help you celebrate, but they're probably not going to plan the party. So you've got to do that. And it also, there's a little something, this may be another topic, but it's a little uncomfortable to put that visibility on
True.
yourself,
So
right?
true.
It's
So
again,
true.
it kind of goes to where we're good at beating ourselves up for what we didn't do. It's harder to celebrate and ask other people to celebrate with us. It's like, hey, I did this awesome thing. I want you
Hmm.
to help me celebrate.
Yeah, yeah, you're
People
right.
love that, but it's hard. It's kind of hard to do. I know I've done that too, where I
Especially
just,
as
let
women.
something, yeah,
I think we're kind of trained to step in the background and, I mean, we can be humble and support from the background, but hey, when we do something that's worthy of, celebrating, which many things are. Hey, I did the dishes today before I went to bed.
woohoo,
Something like that. Yeah, we have every right to plan it ourselves or invite other people. I remember I attended a birthday party of my mom's friend. This was years and years ago. She had this huge bash at this venue that she rented. It was decorated. And I'm like, I never thought to celebrate and plan my own birthday celebration. Like, I love this, but have I done it? No. But it was just like good for her. She took it upon herself to plan her own birthday party and there's a ton of people there.
yeah, yeah. It's great. People love celebrations.
Yeah,
They
and it's
love
just
to,
a good reason to celebrate yourself because other people love to celebrate with you. So, yeah,
yeah.
it's just a different way. We just have to change our thinking around it and our beliefs around it. That's a whole nother topic, but our beliefs.
Yeah, but again, it's a habit, because you have to change your mindset. And one of the best ways to do that is change how you practice, change
Mm,
what you do, how you instead of just moving on to the next thing, like
yeah, yeah,
Sean Acor talks about that, where we're so good at just saying, you make one milestone, say you
yes.
graduate high school, now you're on to college,
Yep,
and
yep.
everybody wants to talk, oh, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do for a
Yes.
job? Are you going
Yes.
to go to grad school? Are you going to do the thing? It's always the next thing instead of like,
Hmm.
hey, wait a second. I just graduated.
Right.
That's a big deal. Let's have a
Yep.
party.
Yep. Exactly.
Or
And
take
again,
yourself on a trip or something.
right. And I think it's at least here in the States, it's a cultural societal thing. It's like do, reach for the next thing. And maybe we're not taught to celebrate. Maybe that's not part of our mindset here. And we're out to change that, aren't we, Amy? Let's
Yeah, let's
change
do it.
that.
Let's do it because I mean, the energy, if you think of things in terms of energy,
Hmm.
celebration is a really powerfully upbeat and positive energy,
Good
right?
point.
So the more we do that, the more we attract that in. It's like practicing gratitude. When you're putting out this positive energy into the universe, you become a beacon for that. You become a magnet for that. So it's really fun if we can think about bringing more of that positive energy that we want into our lives, then let's continue to put more out there. Even when
Mhm.
it feels like you're celebrating, it might just be personal. but you're putting that energy out there.
Oh,
Even
I
if there's no
love
one
that.
else involved, you like to say, okay, I get to have a square of chocolate because I did really awesome work this morning, then that's great. And that's still putting out positive energy into the world.
Love that. So it's almost like if you focus on that energy that you're creating, you're radiating, you're sharing with the world, it kind of takes the focus off of you. Like you said, we don't like to like stand in that spotlight maybe and it be about us. Well, I love that. That's a change in perspective. Well, think about the positive energy you're creating with your celebrating that's that's just helping the world because that does radiate outward. So yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for that. And your brain, I want to just get back to, you said attracting and the energy, brings it towards you. Your mind, like when you were at the beginning of your gratitude breakthrough, we'll call it, and your mind was like being open to seeing more of that around you. So I think our brain gets on board after a while. I know there's that whole reticular activating system. Is that it? Where like if you buy a red car, then you see red cars everywhere. If you're pregnant, you see pregnant women everywhere, even though you didn't before. But you set your mind up to look for gratitude without really thinking about it. But you committed to those 4 minutes a day, and that allowed your brain to like start expanding and start looking for those things that you could be grateful for. As you said, it only took days.
Yeah, that's really insightful, Teresa, because that's exactly what happened. It changed my perspective from looking only at the negative, because that's where I was stuck. I was stuck in the things aren't going right, and then I made that everything, like
Mhm.
everything's going wrong when that
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
wasn't true, you know. So just that small practice of gratitude, then I'm out on a walk and I'm like, God, that sun feels so great. Oh
Mhm.
my God, that tree is gorgeous. And
Yep.
what a cute
Yep.
dog, and whatever, it's like
Mhm.
it starts to shift your energy. And I have this visual that I think of about that time when, if life is a pie, you picture a nice round pie, juicy
Yummy.
fruit pie or your favorite pie,
Yeah.
um, and there's one piece missing, right? That's how I thought, basically one piece was missing out of my life. And that's where I was stuck, in that emptiness of the slice that was gone, right? Gratitude helped me turn around and look at the whole as
Mm.
a pie.
Oh my gosh,
I'm like,
love
oh my
that.
God, I've got this huge, juicy, gorgeous pie that I am not even paying any attention
Oh,
to.
love it.
So that's the perspective shift. I mean, that really is how big it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that any one of us can focus on something that's not going right. Just like right now in Colorado, it's snowing, and it's snowing a lot more than it was supposed to. So, you can focus on, oh man, I got to
Mhm.
shovel, the
Yep.
traffic
Yep.
stuff, it's gonna slide, or you can say, oh my gosh, we got all this beautiful moisture, and it's
Mm.
gonna, help everything be green in the spring and all that
Mhm.
stuff. It's that kind of perspective. It's your decision of how you want to focus your energy.
Love that. Love that. And I love the pie analogy. Um, and basically, so you're looking at this slice and you just had to turn around and there's this whole pie
I'm like,
that you had
oh,
blinders to, like.
yeah, it really was. Yeah, it's like seeing the gap, only the gap,
Mhm,
and not
mhm.
seeing the rest.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. Wow.
Making me
My
hungry.
um one of my newest things is, and this happened maybe a month or two ago, like realized how rich my life was. Rich not in monetary necessarily, but just in experiences and friends and sunshine. And so that's kind of like the eyes that I've been using lately. And it's just like, oh my God, I do have a rich life. Like you said, it opened my mind and my perspective up to see all the richness around me. Or it could be the abundance around you, or it could be the love around you. Pick whatever one that suits your particular point in time. And
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, it's just that little change, that little tweak that can set you off on a new trajectory, which is what I believe Atomic Habits talks about. We've all heard this, like a rocket ship, or I'll just stick with the rocket ship. They just like tweak one little thing, and then it kind of sets it just a little bit, and that like turns it in a different direction with one little teeny tweak. That's
Yeah.
basically what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's actually momentous, I mean, it's a
Mm,
tremendous shift. And there's some physics thing, if you make 1 degree of,
yeah.
change, it's going
Yes,
to wind up in a completely different place
exactly. That's what I was
when you
trying to
go
say.
out
Thank
in the
you.
distance. Yeah.
Thank you
And
for
so,
clarifying more.
yeah, like it's that I don't know how to describe it in physics terms either. But it creates a tremendous difference. And that's what was the shock to me, the catalyst for happiness. I didn't know that's what I was doing.
Hmm.
But I just made that tiny little commitment to make this little change in my day, in my lifestyle, in my habits. And it made a tremendous difference,
Hmm.
so much so that I ended up writing a book about it.
Yeah, wow.
The gratitude connection came out of that. That's where it started.
Absolutely love that story. Love that story. And just real quick, while we're on the topic of books, one of my starting points was The Slight Edge. That's the
Oh,
name of the book, similar to Atomic Habits in a little more simplified format. But yeah, one little teeny change can change over time. It has a huge impact on your life with that one little change that you might do daily. And then, he shows a whole graph where it shoots off into the high end. But yeah, don't dismiss the power of something small, I guess is our point here, correct?
yeah, yeah. Because, it makes me think, Teresa, about how sometimes we don't take action because you're like, oh, I'm just one person. I can't make
Hmm.
a difference.
Hmm.
I can't change
Yeah.
what's going on in the bigger world around me. But, if we go back to that energy conversation and that model, when you're shifting your own energy more to the positive, more to gratitude,
Yeah.
or whatever it is that you are working towards, a little bit of action makes you feel a little bit
Hmm.
better, maybe
Hmm.
a lot better. And that actually helps raise the positive vibration of
Oh my
the
gosh,
planet, is the
yes.
way I think of it.
Yes, me too.
And together we rise, right? So if more and more of us are doing this, just with one small thing a day, we don't have to be going out and making some grand gesture.
Hmm.
The grand gesture is saying yes to yourself and yes to that positivity. I think of it in terms of love and appreciation is what gratitude is.
Yeah.
So those are two of the highest vibration feelings that we can
Hmm.
experience. So when we stay there, that's making a difference.
No, yes, like you said, in yourself and in the world. And yeah, I truly believe that as well. I can send out positive thoughts, positive energy, and it's going to have a ripple effect outward. So I don't have to go and, I don't know, go to the UN and make a speech or anything. I can do it just from my own little space and impact that way, just my own frequency and my own vibration. And some people watching, that might be a new concept to them, but sit with it. That's why we're here, to offer new perspectives and and give you something different and new to think about. But yeah, I always say that I'm contributing to the healing of the world in the way I speak, my words, my, you know, positive energy. I really take that seriously.
Yeah.
That to really protect that and be mindful of that. I mean, am I able to do that 100% of the time? No, but I give it my best go to show up like that, for others.
Yeah. And thank you for that, because that's how I think of it too. But really, if you look at it, when you keep yourself in that energy and you interact with another person, so
Mm-hmm.
you have a choice, right? You have a choice to show up as a grumpy,
Yeah.
negative
Yep.
person, complaining about all the things, or, just beaming out love to them. That makes a tremendous difference in
Mm-hmm.
their day.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
now they're going to go have interactions with other people that are informed by that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it really does have a tremendous ripple effect.
It does. When my kids were growing up in the neighborhood we used to live in, there was an old gentleman, which is relevant now. The term old is relevant, to wherever you're at in life. A gentleman that was older than us at the time would sit on his porch and he would just wave to people as they went by. And my kids loved that. We would just drive because we would drive past his house, go around and go to our house. And they absolutely loved him. They called him the high guy. And that's all he did. But he was rippling out this beautiful energy just by waving. And when he stopped doing that for health reasons or whatever, like everybody was so disappointed. So just that small little gesture that this man was doing from his porch was affecting us, like you said, which was affecting how we interacted with each other from, after that point in time. So yeah, this is so important that we're having this conversation. One little thing can impact
Yeah.
others, and we don't even realize how it's impacting the world. So yeah, whew, awesome.
Well, Teresa, I think of you in a classroom, right? As my husband works with kids too, and he's a very positive, outgoing, loving person, you know, and when the kids have that experience with a teacher or a bus driver or whoever it is that they have in their day, that makes a tremendous
Mhm.
difference, because a teacher is standing up in front of a classroom and loving on those kids. They feel seen, they feel
Yeah.
loved and appreciated, and now they're going to affect each other that way.
Right,
They're going to
right.
take that energy home with them. I mean, and then it goes out and out from
It
there. So it
is.
really is much bigger, I think, than we really think of our personal energy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we think of it as just affecting us, and
Right,
who cares what anybody else is doing.
right, right.
We can have that kind of effect, like just waving at somebody. That guy
Mm-hmm.
made a tremendous difference and taught your kids something that they'll remember forever.
Mm-hmm. That is true. I'll have to mention that. I'll be seeing them for Thanksgiving. I'll have to bring that up. And I know they'll remember because they loved it. Um, but yeah, I have loved everything we've talked about. Thank you so much. This has been fabulous. We didn't even get to everything that I would love to get to. So maybe I can invite you back for another discussion, another conversation. Would you be open to that?
That sounds like fun,
All
Teresa. We always
right,
have a good
great.
time.
Great. Now, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, because we didn't even talk about what you do to the world and what you bring to the world, but how can they reach out to you if they want to connect with you?
Yes. They can find me at unleashyourinnerauthor.com. That's my website. There's a contact page there. Always happy to talk with people about gratitude or writing their own books or whatever it is. And I've got a couple books out there. One's called The Gratitude Connection, and one is called Unleash Your Impact. And that's about, bringing your own positive power to the world through writing a book.
Love that. Is there a particular platform you hang around on, or you just want people to go right to your website?
Website is always good. I'm also very active on LinkedIn, particularly. I am on Instagram also, and I have a Facebook group for authors.
Mm, okay,
So I'm
so
I'm not everywhere, but those are the places I am.
that's a lot. Not everybody can be everywhere. It's like some big people that are, seem like everywhere you should look, there they are. But um, I'm going to put your information in the description with this video so our viewers,
Fantastic.
our listeners can find your website there, just in case you forgot, and ways to connect with you and a little bit more about you. So thank you so much again, Amy. This has been so fun, and I hope we've enlightened and planted some seeds for other people, our viewers. Just remember, everybody, just takes one little thing. Maybe take one action today or first thing tomorrow morning, or think one thought and then just follow it and see what happens. Just like Amy did. I love your story. So thank you again, my friend.
Thanks, Teresa. Always wonderful to spend time with you.
And thanks everybody for listening. Watch for my other episodes. Watch for our follow up with Amy. I get to talk to other amazing women, and you can find that on my YouTube channel and my YouTube series, Evolving Women. Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.